me inside. I miss my baby.
The mother of 23-year-old Lauren Smith Fields of Bridgeport says her family's world came crashing down 10 days ago when her daughter was found dead inside her apartment on Plymouth Street.
Life is not the same. I don't know who I'm gonna be after this.
I'm in this bitch. I'm in a motherfucking cave. You already know. I'm gonna take some time pictures. Look at that. We in Puerto Rico. They about to jump.
Yo, no, we're not looking scary.
Can y'all jump already? Oh shit! Oh my god!
She was 23 years old and had over 12,000 Instagram followers online who looked up to her. She also had a college plan and a date she was actually excited about. By 6:49 the next morning, she was pronounced dead.
It's been a mystery for more than a year that no one seems to have answers to. The young life of Lauren Smith Fields suddenly cut short. Her family left wondering what exactly happened the night she died.
The man in her apartment called 911. The police showed up, did nothing, never gave a report of what happened to her. And the worst part? Her parents weren't informed about her death. Her name was Lauren Smith Fields. And what happened to her in Bridgeport, Connecticut will make you question everything you think you know about who gets justice in this country.
On December 11th, 2021, the 23-year-old from Bridgeport was with a man she met on the dating app Bumble. The next morning, that man called 911 after finding her unresponsive. The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner ruled her death an accident, saying she died of a mixture of alcohol and drugs. But the details of what led up to that are still unclear more than a year later.
Before we fully go further into this story, welcome to Homicide Case Files, where real stories meet real consequences with no fluff. Just the truth. Hit subscribe if you find meanings in these stories. This tragic incident takes us into Bridgeport, Connecticut, USA. It's a city with over 144,000 population. On paper, it sounds like your average mid-size American city, right? Just 20 miles from New Haven, 54 miles from Hartford, a port city with history. But here's the part they leave off the tourism flyers. The violent crime rate alone in these cities is nearly 3 times the Connecticut average. Gun violence report hits different. 56% of the state's gun homicide victims are black. That is 5 times the proportion of black residents who actually live there. So when we talk about what happened to Lauren Smith Fields, we are not talking about a random tragedy in a random city. We are talking about a young black woman in a place where the odds were already stacked against people who look like her, getting the full weight of the justice system in their corner. And Lauren, she was fighting to beat every odd.
I'm literally sweating, and I'm not doing anything.
She was a former high school track star. She was studying to become a physical therapist. She lived with her mother, Chantel Fields, and she was close to her brothers, Lakim Jeter and Tavar Graysmith. Active on social media with over 12,000 followers, she was building something.
I'm Barbie drippin', DB9, Barbie whippin'. If he say he don't want me.
Friends described her as healthy, ambitious, someone who cared about her future. She did not use drugs. Her family is clear on that. She had her whole life mapped out. And on the night of December 11th, 2021, she went on a first date and never came home from it. Before the date, she met a man named Matthew LaFountain. He was 37 years old, quite older than her. He and Lauren had matched on the dating app called Bumble and had only been talking for 3 days before the date was set. 3 days. Now I know what some of you are thinking. That's not that unusual. And you're right, it isn't. People meet on apps all the time. People go on first dates with people they barely know. That is the world we live in. But what becomes important here is that this man was essentially a stranger, Lauren had known him for 72 hours only. That evening, December 11th, they both spent several hours together at Lauren's apartment. According to LaFountain's own statement to police, they drank tequila and watched a movie. Normal enough, right? At some point during the night, Lauren fell asleep on the couch. LaFountain says he carried her to bed and lay down next to her. Around 3 in the morning, he woke up. He could hear her snoring. He went back to sleep. When he opened his eyes again at 6:30 a.m., Lauren was on her side, and she was not breathing. Does that even add up? What's your take? Let me know in the comments. He called 911. Paramedics from AMR arrived shortly after 6:30. They worked on her, but Lauren Smith Fields was pronounced dead at 6:49 a.m. on December the 12th, 2021. Based on the condition of her body, the paramedics estimated she had already been gone for at least an hour before anyone even called for help. Let that sit for a second. She may have been dead since around 5:30 a.m., and the man next to her did not notice. He was asleep. When police arrived, LaFountain appeared frantic, according to press reports citing officers on the scene. He cooperated with investigators, gave his statement, and was never charged. He was never formally named a person of interest. The police took Lauren's ID and her phone. They looked around the apartment, and then, according to her family, they essentially left.
I think the first thing that sends to the family is that we don't care.
Attorney Darnell Crosland is representing the family and plans to sue the city of Bridgeport over the handling of this case. He says they're still waiting on public records that might give them the answers they're looking for.
We've asked for 911 calls that were made either from that individual to the city or maybe from that individual to other police officers.
He says their asks have fallen into a sea of pending Freedom of Information Act requests the city is facing.
While it gives us some solace to know that we're not alone, it also highlights the fact that other people are hurting as well. Other people in the city aren't getting answers as well.
Now here is where the story stops being just tragic and starts being something else entirely. Days after Lauren died, her family went back to her apartment. What they found when they walked through that door made her mother, Chantel, break down. The place was still disheveled. There was a bloodied bedsheet still on the bed. An unidentified pill was sitting on the kitchen counter. A used condom was still in the trash. These were not hidden. They were not buried. They were right there, in plain sight, and according to the family's attorney, Darnell Crosland, police had already been inside that apartment and had seen all of it. But forensics? They did not send a forensic team to process that scene until 18 days after Lauren's death. 18 days. The tequila bottle LaFountain brought that night never tested for tampering, never tested for drugs. The glasses they drank from, same story. Attorney Crosland went public and called the investigation a pseudo-death investigation riddled with negligence. He said detectives failed to follow basic homicide protocols. They never treated LaFountain as a suspect. At one point, a detective reportedly told the family they did not need to reach out because they already had Lauren's ID and had performed an autopsy. That was supposed to be enough. That was supposed to close the loop. And the notification? The family was not officially notified of Lauren's death through proper channels for over 40 days. The state senator Marilyn Moore raised that point publicly, and Connecticut eventually passed a law specifically because of this case, requiring that families be notified promptly when a loved one dies. But that law did not bring Lauren back, and it did not answer the question everybody was too afraid to say out loud. Would this have been handled differently if she was white?
Without a doubt, we know that my daughter was not a drug user, and I had a second autopsy myself, paid out of pocket, because we felt so uncomfortable with the way it was handled.
It's Lauren. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel.
Lauren was a familiar face to YouTube audiences. Her family says she had been a track star at Stanford High School and was now studying physical therapy at Norwalk Community College. A sweet child, they say, who had blossomed into a beautiful young woman who had the whole world at her feet. They say Lauren had met, quote, an older white man on the dating app Bumble, and it was he who alerted police to Lauren's death. The family says they are not satisfied with answers they got from an investigator.
I asked him about the guy. He just made it seem like the guy was a nice guy. It was nothing to investigate.
The only contact that we have had was from a very insensitive, condescending, and arrogant detective.
Lauren's dad reading a scathing statement saying police failed to extend the most basic courtesies and told his family to stop calling. Councilwoman Maria Pereira says police owe Lauren's mom an apology.
She sent a really well-written email, and I was shocked when just yesterday she told me she had not even received a response.
A mom who's left to plan her daughter's funeral just days before Christmas says she's struggling to find a path forward.
Life is not the same. I don't know who I'm gonna be after this.
If you have a daughter, a sister, a friend who uses dating apps, a woman in your life you would do anything to protect, hit subscribe right now. Because this channel exists so that these stories do not disappear. In late January 2022, the Connecticut Office of the Chief Medical Examiner released its toxicology report. Cause of death: acute intoxication due to the combined effects of fentanyl, promethazine, hydroxyzine, and alcohol. Manner of death: accident. There it was. Official, stamped, closed. Fentanyl, as most of you already know, is a synthetic opioid so powerful that a few micrograms can stop your breathing. But Lauren's family was not done. Because here is the part that keeps gnawing at people who have followed this case closely. Lauren's family says she did not use drugs. Not recreationally. Not regularly. So, where did fentanyl come from? Who brought it? And if the tequila bottle was never tested, if the glasses were never swabbed, how exactly did the medical examiner rule out that someone gave it to her without her knowing? The answer, according to the family, is that nobody ever seriously tried to find out. The investigation was closed before those questions were even asked. And Lauren's family was not going to accept that.
Tonight, actually, the family of Lauren Smith Fields has a problem with part of the autopsy report, specifically the manner of death.
News 12 Connecticut has been covering this story since Lauren died back in December, when the family wasn't notified by police of her death. Her family's attorney telling News 12 Shosh Bedrosian there are still too many unanswered questions.
Engine 10, respond for medical emergency. Unresponsive party located 33 Plymouth Street.
It's been 53 days since first responders arrived to Lauren Smith Fields' home after a 911 call was made.
Safety response to Lucas, please.
44 days after her death, police opened a criminal investigation, coming just one day after her autopsy results were released.
The cause of death was determined to be fentanyl and other prescription medications. The manner is what we have a problem with.
Darnell Crossland, the Smithfields family attorney, sent this letter to the state's medical examiner contesting their findings that Lauren's manner of death was ruled accidental.
So how could the ME, in the midst of this whole mix-up that's happening here with the police department, conclude affirmatively that it's an accident? We reject that notion 100%.
According to the incident report, that 911 caller was a man Lauren met on Bumble, who police have not named a suspect. And so far, at least one detective at Bridgeport Police is on administrative leave for the handling of her case.
So we can't maybe say manslaughter or murder, but we shouldn't say accident either. So they should just leave it undetermined, actually, at this point.
Lisa Daddio, a retired lieutenant from New Haven Police Department and a professor at the University of New Haven, says although all the facts about the case haven't been fully released, she's not surprised by the results.
A decision was made that there was nothing to raise the flag initially by investigators. And ruling it accidental probably isn't surprising to me. The medical examiners are the experts. They're basing it on the information that they revealed during the autopsy.
The state medical examiner's office tells News 12 they don't comment on specific cases, but says, quote, in general, if new information is presented to us on any death, we will consider that new information.
In January 2022, they formally notified the city of their intent to sue. By January 2023, they had filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against the city of Bridgeport and its police department, seeking more than $30 million in damages. Their complaint accused the department of a racially insensitive investigation, of never treating LaFountain as a suspect, of failing to test obvious evidence, and of simply deciding this young woman's death was not worth the full effort of a real investigation. The city fought back. Reports from early 2025 indicate a judge moved toward dismissing parts of the suit, though the family contested that outcome. But then, in late 2024, Bridgeport agreed to pay Lauren's family $2 million to settle the case. $2 million. And still no admission of wrongdoing. Still no arrest. Her brother, Lakeem Jeter, put it plainly, "I still say they never did an investigation." Marches and vigils were held in Lauren's memory, including on her birthday. Supporters gathered not just for her, but because they understood that Lauren's story was not isolated. It was a reflection of something much bigger. A system that decides, sometimes before it even starts looking, whose life is worth the extra hour of work. To this day, no one has been arrested in connection with Lauren Smith Field's death. The official conclusion remains that she died accidentally. Matthew LaFountain has never been charged. The Bridgeport Police Department has closed the case. What changed? Connecticut passed a law requiring prompt family notification when someone dies in a police-related situation. When Bridgeport's police department updated its bias training under a new chief. 2 detectives faced an internal review. But Lauren's family is still waiting for the question nobody officially tried to answer. How did fentanyl get into a 23-year-old woman who did not use drugs? Maybe we will never know. Maybe that question was buried under paperwork and bureaucracy and, some would argue, indifference. Or maybe the right investigation just never happened. To the family of Lauren Smith Fields, to her mother Chantel, her brothers Lakeem and Tavar, and everyone who loved her. Lauren was not just a case file. She was a daughter, a sister, a young woman with plans and dreams, and a future that was taken too soon. I hope you continue to feel the support of every person who watches this story and refuses to let her name be forgotten. She deserved better. And to you, watching right now, thank you for staying until the end. It matters more than you know, because every view, every share, every comment tells the algorithm that this story deserves to be seen. I will see you in our next true crime story. Thanks for watching.